to them. UK, Ivory Coast, Niger, Ghana, Netherlands.
So I got you a frequency of actions in football. So we understand football, like any other sport, there's repeated actions. However, these repeated actions are very random. But over time, there's a large amount of it. And how are we prepping our body, or how are we as trainers prepping athletes to take the field, to take the cage, the ring, the court, whatever it may be? How are we prepping them to match the actions of the game? So if we go to football and soccer, and I've got some GPS data on the right, and it's just a collective data of average data over a few games, and it's all the counts: acceleration, deceleration, change in direction, high intensity sprints, and total distance. Now, I could go into more detail, but I'm not going to do that. The purpose of this was for me to highlight how I work within the football scene and how I bring these similarities together, or how do you transfer these training principles between codes. So acceleration and deceleration, we know this, heavily influenced in football, change in direction, and mostly at 90 degrees. I'm not saying it's all at 90 degrees, but majority of the time it's from 0 to 90 degrees, either right or left. Now with this comes deceleration. Now deceleration is generally what I found in football research, especially hamstrings and adductors. Lots of issues. And this comes with that deceleration phase, which is the hamstrings pulling the handbrakes and saying slow down, and then we're going either right and left. Now we're doing it 600, 500 times in a game, but we're doing it at different intensities. So we've got to take this into account. What I mentioned earlier is, how are we as trainers prepping our athletes to now go output 600, 500, 400, 11.5 kilometers? What are we doing to help them get through all of this? So this is fairly simple. We'll get into the training aspects of what I do with these numbers, or what you can do with these numbers. And even if you don't have access to GPS, having this data allows you to now then go and plan your sessions. So we go to the next slide. This is where we have to now go back to that initial first few slides about the actions. A lot of accelerations, a lot of decelerations, a lot of change in directions. All right, we know this. So if I want to do that, I now need to go, okay, if I smaller my dimension, I increase the chance of the ball being at you more often versus a big dimension. A big dimension, it takes a very long time for the ball to come to you. Small dimension, it's there. All right, so for me, straight away, cool, done. Small dimension, not only does it bring about these athletic requirements, cognitive, a lot of cognitive. You pressured a lot. Your defenders press you a lot quicker because the dimension is smaller. They can get to you a lot quicker. So as much as we are looking at the physiological side, we also have to look at the mental side, because football and MMA is a lot of thinking. It's a chess game, formations, strategies. So I talked about manipulating work to rest ratios. We do drills for 3 minutes, you get 1 minute rest, or you get 30 seconds rest. So it's manipulating based on how hard we want to push you, whatever the coach comes up with, the coaching instructions that will bring about these changes. But you have to understand the level of athletes you're working with.